Hello, it's Talking Reds. It's John Gibbons here with my main man Josh Sexton, and we're here to bring you all the latest LFC news on this lovely Thursday morning right here in the city centre of Liverpool. And we'll start, Josh, with lovely news for lovely Sadio Mane. I enjoyed his goal last night. I enjoyed his performance. Obviously sees how much it means to Senegal, and it's great to see them in the final.
Yeah, I enjoyed the celebration as well, to be fair. It absolutely went off, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was good to see, and I think you can sort of be selfish and begrudge these players getting further in this tournament, because obviously we want them to come back to Liverpool, we want them to come back to Liverpool healthy, but like you say, you saw how much it meant to Sadio Mane. You can imagine how much it means to the country of Senegal as well, because Mane is one of their better players and someone that they're pinning loads of their hopes on. Then he turns up with that kind of performance last night. It's just, you can't help but be made up for him, really, because he also seems like a dead sound fella, doesn't he? And that makes a difference. I think we always want sound lads to be playing for Liverpool, but it must be nice for Senegal to be having sound lads playing for them as well, and being that good at footy.
Yeah, you mentioned there that the Liverpool fans have got split loyalties and how far you want them to go, but once they get to the semi-final, there's a third and fourth place playoff anyway, yeah. So they're always going to get an extra game. So I'd like to get everyone's all in by that point, and also wanted to see him because he's had a mixed season. I think Sadio, his form, or lack of, has been a bit over exaggerated. You still look at his goal return and there's been good performances, and so I don't think he's been anywhere near as poor as some people have made out. But obviously it's not quite, the Sadio Mane, not quite the heights that he has reached at Liverpool. So to see him last night creating goals, scoring them, it was a lovely finish, and he's got so much time to think about it. He must be thinking, this is it, this is the win. Do you know what I mean? And he just nonchalantly thinks it in. It was brilliant to see. It
was a proper Sadio Mane goal, wasn't it? Literally it had everything that a Sadio Mane goal would, in terms of the through ball that gets played to him, just how many yards he gets on the defender, just in terms of his sheer pace, and then, as you say, the little dink finish as well. And I think Sadio Mane is one of those players who I think Liverpool fans in general, and I include myself in this, are quite quick to jump on his body language when it doesn't like he's enjoying his football. And we saw, I think it was the Crystal Palace game, the 7-0, wasn't it, where he's sort of a bit fuming about not being involved in that to some degree. But then when you see that last night, you sort of see how it flips on its head, and that's why I agree with what you're saying before about this giving him a bit of a confidence boost for the season. Now I don't know if he will look back at this season and sort of think that he's played poorly. I know he did look back at last season and say that it was one of the worst of his career. Yeah. So it's quite nice that he's got that this season now. Like, no matter what happens with Liverpool, he's got this moment with Senegal, and hopefully it is a massive boost for the rest of the season for Liverpool, and I'm sure it will be, because that last night makes it look like he's enjoying his footy.
And it could be a final against Mo Salah, of course, his mate at Liverpool. Egypt have got a tough semi-final, it has to be said, but I mean, that'd be great, wouldn't it, to see the two of them sort of going at each other in that final.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw the picture of them together where they both just looked made up to sort of be with each other. Sadio did a little video message at the start of the tournament as well to Naby Keita and Mo Salah, sort of saying, I can't play both of you in the final, but I wish you all the best for the tournament. I don't know if at that point he'd have actually predicted he might be playing even one of them, but it looks like that might be the case. So yeah, all the best to Mo Salah in Egypt as well, because we just want to see the lads doing well now, don't we, like you say?
Yeah, I just want to see the lads do well, so all the best there to Mo Salah, and hopefully he can join Sadio Mane in the Afcon final. I'm sure if he does, there'll be lots of Liverpool fans all around the world watching that. I want to talk as well a little bit about the ticket ballot yesterday, which was for the final. So lots of people obviously were in the ballot. If you've been to 2 League Cup games in the run, there was 2 home games. If you've been to both of those, or maybe even 2 aways, if that's the way you sort of you ended up having it on your tickets and you went into the ballot. I gather, Josh, it was a 1 to 1.6 chance of getting it, if that maths makes sense. We think about 60%. So obviously, sort of lots of different disappointed people, including people at the Anfield Wrap. It has to be said. I was lucky enough to have 3 games on my card. I went to Preston, and so I had that one. So I was automatically given a ticket. A lot of people in the ballot. You did all right. Big fist pump in the office yesterday, but a few of our lads haven't and haven't got tickets in, and I was sort of scratching around. It's tough, isn't it, Josh? Because every time these ballots happen, the people who get them are made up, the people who aren't are suddenly saying it needs to be done in a different way, and there's no perfect way with the number of tickets that Liverpool have to distribute them, I don't think.
No, it's so hard, isn't it, because the demand is so high, and the supply is just not there, and most of the time it's not Liverpool setting the supply, particularly in these finals, and that's where you sort of get the most disappointment. This is the first ballot I've actually had success in a final, so in that sense, I've been cursing all the ballots for years now, and then finally this one's sort of come up trumps for me, which is obviously nice. But it's also, you know, it is rubbish to see other people being let down, and particularly people who've been going to the game for years and that kind of thing, because you want to see loyalty rewarded, and that's where I sort of, you know, take the point a bit about, you know, some people saying, oh, you like if you go into all the games and you should be rewarded with your loyalty, but that's why there's credit systems in place for stuff like this, and that's where, you know, if you're going to do the hard yards over the years, you've got to do the hard yards in you know, on the sort of Wednesday and Tuesday nights at Anfield when it's, you know, beating down with rain and that kind of thing as well, and that's where you obviously build up the credits to get to these finals. So as I say, there'll never be a perfect solution, and I don't think in that sense Liverpool will ever be able to satisfy all sets of supporters, because we come from so many different walks of life and so many different, you know, places and that kind of thing. So they will never be that sort of, you know, silver bullet of, oh, this is the way that we're going to make sure we get everybody in, because, you know, unless the stadiums could hold millions of people, then that's just not going to be the case, is it?
Yeah, and it's tough because there'll be Liverpool supporters who've been to every home game this season who won't have a ticket, and there'll be supporters, and I know some who've been to a couple of games, who've been to those League Cup games, and then will get a ticket for the final. And people might say, well, that's not fair, but those are the games they've been able to give tickets for. So I know someone who was actually who used to go, who'd stopped going because of life and stuff, and was absolutely desperate to start going. And the only way they could go, the only way they could figure out how to get tickets was they managed to get on the Auto Cup for the League Cup. So they went through on that, and now they're going to Wembley, and that's boss in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because I think, you know, especially like say like a parent and you're taking your kid or whatever, the idea if you're going to that second round cup game and you go, well, we'll keep going and we might go all the way to Wembley here together. Having that as a possibility, I think, is really cool.
Yeah, and that's years of basically League Cup disappointment, isn't it? To build up those credits. Yeah,
because you're taking the chance, aren't you, on what we've had over the last 10 years, which has largely been getting beat.
Yeah, like my League Cup, Auto Cup journey started against Notts County, and I think it was 13-14 that game, and I think it went to extra time. We had to bring Daniel Sturridge on and Raheem Sterling on and stuff like that to see off Notts County. So it wasn't exactly the sort of, you know, most ideal start. But as you say, that's the way you get on the ladder, and it's good to see that there are people who've got on the ladder who now get to go and experience that kind of thing. But you know, it's obviously not ideal for the people who have been going for years and have been let down for this one, and so you sort of, you know, you feel sorry for them. But as you say, it's also a nice opportunity for a few people who might not have got the chance to go to Wembley before to be able to get there.
Yeah, well, if you were lucky in the ballot, congratulations, hope you enjoy it. Remember all the people who would love to be there on the day, and make sure you sing your heart out for the Reds. And if you weren't fortunate, then I'm sure you're sort of looking around at all avenues, and hopefully as many Liverpool fans manage to get in on the day as possible. And to move on then, and I don't want to have a little talk about transfers. I thought I was going to be resting transfers for a couple of months with the window closing, but there's a situation now where there's players out of contract in the summer, and there's quite a few being linked there. Cavallo being the obvious one that's running and running. All the talk, Josh, is that, you know, everyone's relaxed. You know, Liverpool still want to get the deal done. Obviously, he still wants to come, and Fulham are sort of accepting that this is the best case scenario for them as well. So expecting that to be done. But the Dybala stuff keeps running, and the strongest links are out in Italy. But then that's been maybe the case for quite a few players we've signed recently. That the stories have come first from the countries that they're in. So that's quite an interesting one. In a way, he doesn't really feel like an FSG signing. He's 28, he'll be on big wages, and Liverpool, like the Carvalho deal, are very much looking to sort of build for the future. But then, you know, someone like Thiago came in because he was the right man, and so there could be something in it.
Yeah, there could be, and as you say, even though we were coming with big wages, we were coming in on a free. So in that sense, if you're looking at, you know, Liverpool's transfer strategy as being opportunistic, which I think you've seen in the most recent case with Luis Diaz, that Liverpool are prepared to pounce when the right man comes along. So if they think Paulo Dybala is the right man, then I would expect them to sort of be all over this one. I don't know if I'm completely convinced he is the right man. He feels like one who Liverpool have just been linked with for ages, and I'm always a bit worried about lads who Liverpool have been linked with for that sort of long period of time. I think we were first linked with him when he was at Palermo before he'd even gone to Juventus, and he's been at Juventus for a few years now. And I did a tour live gutter a few weeks ago where we spoke about him, and I was sort of looking at his goal record off the back of that, and it's all right, but it's not sort of much to tear up trees. And in recent seasons, he had a few injury issues and stuff as well. So in that sense, I'm not particularly overly excited about it. But if he comes in and Liverpool do manage to get him in, then obviously I'll be sat in the office with you making songs about him and cheering him on the Kop the next day.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. But listen, we're hopefully going to be doing an emergency gutter show next week, which is our transfer show for our audio subscribers. So I'm going to have a little word with Rob after this and say to Rob, there's still plenty of stories lingering there. We need you analysing them and you giving them prices out of 5, and so hopefully that'll be happening next week, so make sure you download the Anfield Wrap app for lots more of that. And of course, this exciting run of games that's coming up. It's a great month, isn't it, Josh? Starting with this Cardiff game, the big games come thick and fast. We talked about the fact there's a final, there's Inter Milan as well, and the fact that so many players are coming back now as well, for this really key moments of the season is great. And none more so than Thiago, who we're hearing is back in full training. And, you want your big players back for these big games for the business end of the season. And so great to have them there. Yeah,
there was another little fist pump from me last night when I saw the James Pearce notification come through saying that Thiago was back in full training, because it's good to have him back, isn't it? And I think we've all sort of spoke about recently that our sort of, record with him in the team, and he makes Liverpool a much better team. He makes Liverpool tick, and I think this season in particular he's really sort of shown that. There's been a few massive performances from him now. We obviously all think of the Porto goal, but you think about Leeds away and that kind of thing as well, where he's really stood out and shone, and he'll be looking at this run now, and obviously fingers crossed for his fitness and that kind of thing, but it's a run that he can really get his teeth into, and there's shirts up for grabs there, isn't there? You and Neil were recording the squad the other day and talking about in the midfield there are shirts up for grabs there, and there'll be a few lads who feel like they can claim that sort of third spot alongside Fabinho and Henderson, and Thiago should be thinking that he's one of the top of that pecking order, and if he can stay fit, then it's a massive opportunity for him, and it's a massive opportunity for Liverpool. I should say it's a huge couple of months coming up now for us to get something out of this season. We've also got the League Cup final at the back end of this month, the Champions League last 16 games in between that as well, and then a few huge league games. So it feels like we've got the momentum now. If we keep sort of marching on, then we'll get there come May, won't we?
Yeah. The momentum is with Liverpool. It's a really exciting time of the season. The players are coming back. The players we've got are looking good. There's players in Africa going to win tournaments and everything. The lads are smashing it all around the world. And as Josh says, 1 or 2 trophies this season we're overconfident that we can get. So make sure you download the Anfield Wrap app, or you can subscribe through YouTube, through our channel as well. But yeah, up to heads. Nice one to Josh. Have a lovely Thursday.